Hello everybody, welcome back to the Niner Diners Norm's Kitchen podcast, a little show where we take a look behind the scenes at our dining team and talk to the people who don't always get the spotlight, see just what they do and why they're an important part of campus dining. Today I'm here with someone who creates many of the designs you see for campus dining, but rarely makes appearances on camera. I'm here with our graphic design intern, Ashley Lagasse. So Ashley, what year are you? What do you do here, and what got you interested in graphic design?
So I'm a senior in my last semester here at Charlotte. I study graphic design, and I currently am the graphic design and marketing intern here at Dining Services. And I always wanted to do something with design. I always was big in art. Like growing up, my mom was very creative. So I originally wanted to do interior design until I took a class in high school and really got into graphic design. And here I am now.
Nice, very nice. So Ashley, you're going to walk us through one of your recent designs, kind of show us your process, some important graphic design basics, and pretty much teach everybody how to be a graphic designer.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about this design, Ashley.
So we have a new project coming up. We're doing a renovation for Upper Prospector, and we're getting a bunch of new dining locations. As you can see, including Qdoba, we're putting Panda Express up there. We're gonna have a little lounge, and then also the Halal Shack. So for this design, we needed to have something that really screamed that we're doing renovations, we're getting new food on campus, we're even having a party for it. And then in the meantime, during the construction, we'll have a little food truck village, so you will still have plenty of dining options in Upper Prospector, and Lower Prospector will still be the same. So this is just a little sneak peek of everything all in one little TV screen. As you can see, we have the logos very big to kind of grab your attention with that, and using visual hierarchy, kind of having the biggest thing what your eye goes to. So right now, like, you're probably reading Upper Prospector renovation,
I did look at that first.
then you see Qdoba, and then the rest of the brands. Oh, the dining halls or the Upper Prospector will close December 6th, and you kind of go down from there. And once we grab your attention, you then go to the Upper Prospector party, food truck village.
And you start reading a little information.
Yes.
So tell me about the colors a little bit. I see that they pop. It's a very interesting choice.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff we do here on campus is for targeting students. So the biggest thing to grab Gen Z and college students' attention in general is to have very vivid colors, very high contrast. So having that brighter orange and having that navy blue in there, contrasting each other gives more attention grabbing, and then have that white in there too that really pops. So that's something we try to include in a lot of our designs on campus to try to let y'all know what's going on as students, faculty, and staff.
I hate to say you kind of put me in a box there, but clearly I also like bright colors, so guilty as charged. So you don't just make designs of this size either, correct? You have to make a whole bunch of different ones, because we have like sign holders, we have TV screens, we have little, tiny poster holders. Yep. So tell me about that a little bit.
Yes, so almost every single design I make here on campus, I don't just make in one size. Here you see a TV screen design, but I also make things in napkin holder sizes, which we have two different sizes of. We also do website banners, mobile app banners, X banners, which are these giant things that go up next to the dining locations, as well as posters, and that typical size of like an A-frame is what we tend to call it. So we're typically, when I do one design, I have to almost resize it or redo it about 6 times to kind of make sure that it fits into the different areas and different channels, we call them, to kind of reach students. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Okay. So tell us about the kind of guidelines you have to work with, because as a creative you have to balance expectations from the people who need the graphics and your own creativity. Like, let's talk about this design a little bit. Mm-hmm. You can't just make the red in Panda Express yellow to match the yellow, or blue to match the blue. Right. So how do you sort of balance the expectations with the creative part of yourself?
Yeah, so we kind of have a unique view here at Dining Services because we're not particularly working with one brand. So typically with brand standards and things, like for example you mentioned Panda Express, they have that red, the black, everything they do has to be within their main brand colors. They have a color scheme, specific fonts. However, working with so many brands on campus as Dining Services, we don't have specific constraints because we're working with multiple brands. We can't use one brand's
Right.
thing for every single design. So typically our main goal is to grab students' attention. So just whatever is newest in design trends, having those high contrast colors, and kind of combining all the different aesthetics of all the different dining locations. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So Ashley, it's not just you working on all the graphic designs, correct? You have a team you're working with. Why don't you tell me a little bit about them?
Yeah, so it's just a team of 2. So it's myself and Brian, the senior graphic designer at Chartwells. And together we kind of tag team all of the designs. I typically work on more Charlotte things. Brian works for the whole East Coast of Chartwells, so he has a very big landscape he's taking care of, so he occasionally will do some Charlotte designs, and together we kind of work on projects, making sure that I'm getting feedback on my designs so that he can kind of build off of there, make sure we're putting out the best work. And we've also both worked on the innovations graphics for Chartwells, so that's our corporate company, and we worked with a larger team, and got to do toolkit graphics that were sent out to over 300 schools across the nation. So that was a pretty fun project, and it's nice to get to have different perspectives and different feedback from different people. Feedback is a very big thing in design, and that's the biggest thing I love about design is that it's constantly changing. You're constantly getting new perspectives and constantly improving.
Very nice. That actually segues really well into my next question. I was going to ask about feedback. What is your process from like start to finish? When do you get reviews coming in? What do you do with those reviews? How does that end up looking on the design? Kind of take me through that a little bit.
Yeah, so once I finish a design, I'll kind of share it with my managers, being the marketing director, as well as Brian, the senior graphic designer, and kind of get their feedback based on who asked for the project. If it was something for Brian, we'll work more closely together. If it's something for the marketing director, she kind of gives me feedback based on the work and also based on the business partners here at Charlotte. So kind of getting a lot of different perspectives. From there, I kind of get minor tweaks, or maybe it was a whole redesign to begin with. Maybe the colors were too much or whatever. So we base that feedback and go from there. And yeah.
Very nice, very nice. So as a graphic designer, you are working in your own separate world. You have your own jargon, your own education, whereas people like me, we want these cool graphic designs, we don't always know how to say it. So tell me about good graphic design feedback versus bad graphic design feedback.
Yeah, so good graphic design feedback, I don't know if it's necessarily good, but definitely using the more terminology and things is like, for this specific design, I don't like how high contrast it is, would be an example of like, I don't like how the different colors are playing with each other. Another favorite of mine is there's too much going on when there's specific things that had to be on it. And so like, I'm constrained with what I have to put on there, but it's too busy. That's a favorite.
Yeah, because you are working with a lot of information here. You've got the prospector party, you've got the food truck village, and the different restaurants. It's a lot to balance.
Yes.
Completely understand that. So this has happened recently. It happened with this design. You got some feedback for some different designs you put forward. Let's go through those and see why maybe we ended up with this one.
Yeah. So as I scroll through, you'll kind of see the progression of the design. So this was the original design, and you can see here it's focusing on the new food coming to campus, but it's really only focusing on Qdoba, which is a very popular dining location, and then it just mentions in very small text the rest. So throughout we kind of made more tweaks and based off the feedback, so moved more into this one. We're renovating, adding in the food truck village, and adding in also the party. But as you can tell, the goodbye party kind of gets lost.
Yeah.
Even the brands also get lost.
Yeah.
So I kind of made another draft before the next round of feedback.
Well, here, hold on. What I like about that is that you added the food truck there. I think oftentimes a picture
Imagery,
tells,
absolutely.
Yeah, it tells 1,000 words.
Yes.
So I think that was a big improvement going from that first one to this one. And you can see by the end that we used like a party hat picture and a food truck picture. So
Right.
It just tells a story that words can't always do.
Yeah. So then like moving on to the next one, kind of making some more room, some more space, because in design a big thing is spacing as well, until kind of playing around more. These are very rough drafts that we were kind of playing with, and as you can see there still just wasn't enough emphasis on the goodbye party and food truck village and the brands itself. So making the brands more of a focus was the next round of feedback. So here you could see popping them, making them a little bit bigger, but still not quite there yet.
And it's obviously a challenge because you can't do anything with that. You can't make like an outline around Qdoba. You can't modify it to work with the colors.
Right.
You're stuck with what you got.
Yeah. They do have some like different colors. Like for this example, I used an all white Qdoba logo. Yeah. But again, it's within their brand standards.
Rough.
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of moved more into just making them a little bit smaller and adding some more space around there. So, but as you can see, the biggest or the best one was having the
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matt. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna keep your card right here.
Oh, thank you. Gotta get this off the set.
I forgot. I was like getting scared and nervous. I was like, wait, what's going on?
Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Thank you. So Ashley, thank you so much for showing off some of your designs, some of your process. We're going to end this off in a minute, but I want to know how you stay updated on current design trends, especially those that appeal to your market, which is college students.
Yeah, absolutely. So a big thing before each design, just in general, is looking for inspiration. So just looking at what other designs are doing. So for example, we're coming up with some Thanksgiving events soon. So just Googling even what Thanksgiving designs are out there. I do also follow a lot of dining accounts, other Instagrams of other dining locations, as well as other college campuses dining services. So that's a big thing of inspiration. And as far as design trends, I scroll through Pinterest a lot. I like to look at the new things. I also use generally new thing is Behance. So it's kind of a hub for designers to go, or illustrators, painters, whatever, and showcase like current like designs. So that's another place I go to look for inspiration and kind of what everybody's doing these days.
Very cool, very cool. So what are you hoping to gain from this internship, and what unique perspective or skills do you feel you bring to the dining services team?
Yeah, well, I can tell you as far as what I hoped to get when I first started over a year ago now was not what I expected to get out of it at all. I was kind of just hoping to get a little bit of experience, kind of meet some new people, learn what dining services really did more of, and I got a lot more than that. I feel I have grown a lot in my time here. I've had the chance to work on a number of projects that I would never have gotten the chance to work on anywhere else. I've gotten to do web design, I've gotten to do marketing campaigns, be on a podcast, crazy. So it's definitely fun to come in and have every day be different and to get to just enjoy having fun. As far as what I think I've brought to the table through my learning experiences, but also my school and past experience, has probably been I try to have a positive attitude a lot of the time, and I like to take initiative in things, try to make sure things are getting done by the deadlines and such. I try to be highly organized. I'm very I got a million lists going on. I try to just keep everybody on track as much as possible.
I think, and I'm sure you can verify this, every designer or artist out there has a different style and a different take on what works. You've got the main ideas, you've got your hierarchy, you've got your colors, but everyone's going to do it differently.
Absolutely.
And I think over the past year and a half, you've brought a unique perspective to the designs on campus, and we can't thank you enough for it.
Thank you. I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. Thank you so much, Ashley. This was a pleasure.
My pleasure's all mine.
So our second guest today is another of the interns who just joined us this semester. She specializes in social media, creating engaging content that drives her dining messages through channels like Instagram and TikTok. Welcome to Norm's Kitchen, our social media intern, Jasmine Moore.
Hi, Matt. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on. So Jasmine, what inspired you to pursue a role in social media?
So what inspired me to pursue a role in social media Basically, I knew I wanted to do marketing from the start, but I needed a creative outlet, so I didn't want to do, marketing analytics. So I'm like, well, what's the next best thing that I'm really interested in? And it was social media marketing.
Okay. How do you approach creating content for different platforms? Because not all are created equal. You've got your Instagram content, which is more short form, reels based. You've got your LinkedIn content, which is more business based, showing off, who you are. What's your approach?
So my approach is basically to see what kind of content, of course, does better on each platform. Like for our Instagram, reels do a lot better on Instagram. TikTok, we have a pretty consistent flow engagement, so we do a lot of those. And to be honest, it's just whatever is trending right now and what form of content fits it best.
So why do you think that these days short form content like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, why do you think that's a lot bigger and doing a lot better than like static photo content?
So me personally, I think that they do a lot better because I don't know if you're familiar with an old social media platform called Vine, and
Yes.
a lot of people really love that. And they actually deleted Vine because they didn't want to pay their creators for that's why they deleted Vine. And all the creators didn't want to keep creating for them, they weren't getting paid, so then that's when they moved to Instagram and TikTok. And people really love that short form of video content, so I think that's where that came from.
Interesting. So what tools or software are you familiar with for creating and scheduling your posts?
So for me personally, I use Canva Pro, and then I also use CapCut for videos. I think they go together hand in hand really well, especially because Canva does have set templates already and measurements to make it easier for people to create things.
Which social media metrics do you consider the most important for tracking success?
The metrics I think is most important, which is crazy because I'm in a social media class right now actually, and we have a simulation in our class that we get graded on, and each week they want conversions. Obviously we don't get conversions because nobody's buying anything from us, but also off of that they grade on engagement, and engagement turns into conversion. So I personally think that engagement is really well. I think views are really well. People don't necessarily need to share or save anything, but I think that when somebody views it, I think the views is where it really matters.
I feel like we've all been in that situation where we saw something in our feed once and we're like, oh, okay, that's not like in my wheelhouse, I'll never see it again.
Yeah.
And then your whole feed becomes that thing just because you saw it.
Yeah,
not because you liked it or shared it, just because you engaged with it.
Exactly.
So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So what year are you? What do you do here at Dining Services? And what got you interested in social media?
So I am a senior marketing student, and what got me interested in dining services is I just saw, I've already followed the dining services, and I thought that, just the marketing in general could be a little, a little bit more engaging.
Okay, wow. Taking back the thank you. Never mind.
Just in the fact of having actual students on the social media page, and I think we've done a really good job of doing that so far, which is why we have 6,000 followers now.
Not to flex, 6,000 followers.
Hopefully trying to get to about 8,000 by the end of this year. I think we can do it. So but
can you give an example of how you successfully engage with an audience online?
An example would probably be just simply responding to the DMs on Instagram, especially when we had the Voice to Vision survey, and a lot of people were trying to send in their completed surveys. I think just being really up to date on that, especially if it's something like that, and just responding in a really good manner. Most of the time, or all the time, I just respond with I like the message. I'm you're approved now, because you have to approve them to send a message. You're approved now, send us, whatever, just sounding like you're excited to see their message that they're
and it's interesting, as a larger brand and a campus brand, you have to react in a manner that's both respectful and hey, I'm not a robot. Like, there's a person
Yeah.
behind here.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a very interesting balance to both represent a brand and represent the person behind the brand. That's really cool. So how comfortable are you with quick turnaround posts, such as reacting to current events? How would you ensure kind of accuracy under those pressures?
I'm pretty good with keeping up with current events, one, because I'm on social media so much already. That's why I also love it as a job, because
Yeah.
I am on it already.
For my job.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
exactly. So half the time I just save stuff when I see it, and you know, things for social media, things can go in and out so quickly.
Yeah.
So you do kind of have to get on it when it happens. But I feel like I've done a pretty good job. We've done a pretty good job with keeping up with trends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an in the moment thing.
Oh, it is.
And especially if you already know how to create things like that, like using the CapCut templates and stuff like that, it can be a lot easier to keep up with the trends and like the turnaround times.
And I think it definitely is a two-part problem, because on the one hand you've got dining messages that need to be accurate and informational, but then you've got these trends that come and go, and it's like, well, does this current trend fit the message we're trying to get out there, or like, do we have to wait? That can be really tough. So I respect you for having to balance those two.
Like, we tried to do the SNL that was going around, but it just didn't work out. But you know,
we're gonna have to roll that, show the people what we mean. But yeah, sometimes it just doesn't fit. Sometimes you have to find other ways to do it. For sure. So Jasmine, you've provided for me some steps on how to create a viral challenge. I figured we can try to do that, show the people how it's done, make this go viral, please. So why don't you walk me through those steps and we can see how we do.
Okay, so the first step is going to be to define a clear goal.
Okay. So what I've got in mind is we have Thankful coming up on the 19th. I think we should make something fun for that we can post, people interact with, just really get the word out.
Okay.
So what should we start with?
Well, we do want to start with finding a template on Canva, and we want to keep it fun and simple.
Gotcha. Let me look for a template. I'm going to look up Thankful. See what we get as far as that goes. Okay, I think this one's kind of cool. How's that?
I think that one's good as well.
Okay, it's a good starting point. Now we're looking for keeping it simple and fun. Make sure anyone can participate. How do we make this a challenge?
A challenge, we could include, I would say we could put in a post that they can comment with like some Thanksgiving traditions that they have.
Okay. I'm going to create another page, and I'm going to add some mock-up comments that people might leave. I put up my Christmas tree.
How early do you think it's appropriate to put a Christmas tree up?
Halloween.
Right after Halloween?
I mean, like 12:01.
12:01?
Yeah, November 1st.
Oh, okay.
The lights are on.
Okay.
The tree's already up, but the lights turn on November 1st, 12:01.
Okay, I think that's a good time period as well.
You agree? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, glad we're on the same page then. Alright. What else is a fun, strange tradition?
I know some people like run a 5K.
I was actually about to say that, like the turkey trot. If you've never heard of it. Some psychopaths out there like to run before they eat Thanksgiving lunch or dinner. I used to be one. I'm not anymore. I don't do cardio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you do that, if you're one of those people, mad respect to you. Some of us could never. Okay. Alright, I think those are some good mock-up comments.
Okay.
So what else did we need?
Well,
incorporate a hashtag.
Yeah, we do need to come up with a hashtag so people can find it as well. That goes back to the engagement and views that I was talking about earlier.
So how do you pick a hashtag?
Hashtag,
or multiple hashtags?
you want to make sure that it's very relevant to the post. So for this, it's for thankful, right? So we would want to, hashtag thankful, hashtag the school.
And how do you know which hashtags do well?
When you go and you add the hashtag in the caption, it will tell you how many posts the hashtag is already under. So you definitely want to pick the ones that are at the top.
Dining services. Hashtag I can't run before I eat.
And don't forget to hashtag Niner Diners.
Oh, of course. Niner Diners. There we go. I think that's a good start. What else? Encourage sharing and tagging.
Sharing and tagging. So sharing and tagging, you'll definitely want to share it on your personal story. And for tagging for us, I like to tag other departments on campus.
Okay.
So that would be like the auxiliary services, the student involvement center, the student union.
Chartwell's Higher Ed.
Chartwell's Higher Ed.
Yep.
So all of those big,
all the big names who want to see the posts, doing well, help share it. Makes total sense.
Exactly.
Let's delete English Language Arts 9. Dining services. Themes of being thankful. Little crash course on Canva here too. Get them. Make that a little spaced out. Being thankful. Perfect. Great. Well, I think it looks really good, Jasmine.
I think it looks good too.
If you have any interesting Thanksgiving traditions, please feel free to leave a comment. Let us know what you do on Thanksgiving. Hopefully not run. So Jasmine, thank you so much for your time today. I just want to know, what do you hope to gain out of this internship? What do you eventually want to do? And is there anything else you want to say to the people out there?
So what I hope to gain out of this internship is one, experience, and I really love learning new tricks. Like you have taught me a lot so far that I can take into my career later on when I do graduate after this spring semester. And I do eventually want to do social media marketing and PR for big beauty brands, like Sephora, Ulta, things like that. Those of course are in bigger cities though, so I'm kind of scared about that part. But that's what I want to do eventually. And there's nothing else I'm going to say to the camera.
There's nothing else?
I don't think so.
No, you're good. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jasmine. This was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.